Our guy Baldy is awake and joining us right now. Baldy, what is going on? Offensive line mastermind.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It's good to be with you. It's that time of the year, man. It's a special time, so I'm just enjoying all of it.
Man, so happy and thankful to have you on, Baldy. And this Broncos game that we just saw, you broke down a lot of things on Baldy's breakdowns over at your Twitter. Go check him out over at Baldy NFL. You got so many awesome ones. Yours have picked up a lot of steam around the country for your breakdown of the Broncos, and one of them is about Russell Wilson and just how impressive have his two past games been. Not the stat sheet, because the stat sheet's been fine, nothing that blows you away, but his poise and composure at the end of these games.
No question. And that's how a lot of quarterbacks get measured. You get measured by how you play in the postseason, got to get there, and then how you finish games. And can they put the ball in your hands, and can you take the team down the field and make, the type of plays that we've just witnessed the last 2 weeks, but over the course of the last month, where, it's error-free football, and he's just giving everybody a chance. Converting 4th and 3s and just dodging, every single defender in his way to go find a way to win a game against a hot team. It was nothing short of impressive. And Minnesota's defense is stout. Brian Flores has those guys playing fantastic. That was incredibly impressive by what Russell's done.
Yeah, let's go back to that Vikings game one more time. The Broncos have been running the ball so well, and we really thought that was their key to success. In this last game, they kind of went away from the run. In my opinion, that's Sean kind of have them be more balanced so that they can make more of a playoff push. What was your opinion on that? Was it just the Vikings defense, or is this more of a long-term game plan for the Broncos?
I just don't think they ran the ball real effectively. Like, they weren't getting, the chunks. They threw McLaughlin in there. They threw Samaje, Javante. It was just tough sledding. And so we went really to the short passing game. And that's kind of what it has been. It was very conservative, but it was dink and dunk. And, when you're not making a lot of mistakes and you're not turning it over, that works. They weren't getting chunk plays, and they weren't really, win the line of scrimmage like they did the week before against Buffalo. And so I thought that was probably the right approach. I think it could change week to week. It might change this week, against a Cleveland team that actually gives up some yards rushing, but they're very difficult to throw the ball against, and you don't want to hold it very long. So it could change a lot this week.
Hey, Baldy, since you are the offensive line mastermind, last week, this Broncos offensive line, nearly a perfect game in terms of pass protection. They allowed just 3 total pressures, no sacks, 37 dropbacks. It really has been an impressive showing from these guys in terms of pass protection over the past couple weeks. What's really clicking for these guys in that regard right now?
I think a lot of it is, I think Quinn Miners is playing at an extremely high level. But I think, Russell, getting rid of the ball quickly. I was talking to, not to dodge the question, it's going to answer it, but I was talking to Nick Bosa on Sunday, and, he had just had a great game, and he goes, well, it helps if the quarterback gets to hold the ball, Baldy, or the coverage marries it, and so there's a lot of things that go into that. But I thought Russell's maneuverability, escapability, extending plays, he did that a bunch. That helps the line out. Sometimes quarterbacks that are real mobile, they sack themselves, and Russell's not doing that. His feel, and that's where I want to go with this. I feel like his feel with this line and how they protect has come a long ways from, say, like I remember the Washington game, I think they hit him 14 times.
Yep.
And I was like, how does he even survive this season if they hit him that many times? And it was going on like that. And so sometimes a quarterback learns a feel with the guys up in front of him, Cushenberry, Bowles, the group. And so I feel like there's a little bit of a dance that goes on, and I feel like that's improving week to week right now.
Yeah, speaking of improvement, I want to ask you a big picture question. The Broncos started 1-5. Now they're just one game back of the playoffs. This is a turnaround that I can't remember a more impressive turnaround, at least so far right now. Is this all on coaching? Who deserves credit here, and where does that get dished out for this turnaround?
Well, when you're 1-5, it always falls on the head coach. And when you win 4 in a row and you climb back into the race, it's on the head coach. The coach, that Sean is just, he's, I don't know. I've been around him a long, long time. he has his fingerprints everywhere, from the game plan to the attention to detail to, how you take the field. Like his hands are on everything, how you practice. So I feel like Sean deserves an awful lot of credit. When you give up 70 to Miami and everybody is calling for the defensive coordinator's head and all the stuff that was going on, and you just stay the course and you don't panic and you don't do any of those things that you easily could do. Other teams have done that already this year. We'll make the coordinator the fall guy. He didn't do any of that. And so I feel like Sean deserves a great deal of praise to this point. Now, they still got to finish strong, and I don't think anybody's celebrating, over, at the facility right now. But I think this is the job of the head coach right now.
As the Broncos try to continue this win streak, they face a very good opponent in the Cleveland Browns. I think it's a battle of two very great defenses. Who do you feel has the better edge going into this game as far as defensive play?
Well, I think Cleveland has the advantage. I mean, Jim Schwartz has done a masterful job. What they can do is, like, if they play San Francisco, they play press man coverage and said, beat us. And the 49ers couldn't beat them. The quarterback hadn't thrown an interception in 9 games until he played Cleveland. But last week he played a lot of zone, and so he has ability, and they have the personnel to play a lot of different styles. Myles Garrett over there is a different. I mean, there's nobody else like Myles Garrett in this league, and so you have to game plan against him. But there's a lot of other guys that can hurt you, and so I think Cleveland has a little bit of advantage. But I say that, except that I think Denver's had 12 takeaways in the last 4 games.
Yep.
And so, I mean, sometimes you go, would you rather have the number one defense, or would you rather the defense that can take the ball away better than anybody else? Like, they're not going to be Kareem Jackson blowing up Josh Dobbs this week, unfortunately. But, that's how they're playing the game right now. And so the takeaways can come from a lot of different places. It could be Jaquan McMillan again or whatever. But I like a team that feels like they can keep taking the ball away and giving extra at-bats to the offense and giving good field position. And so in some ways, I might favor Denver right now.
Yeah, I think really offensively for the Cleveland Browns this year, one thing that they're great at doing is just staying on the field. What's the key for this Denver defense up against DTR in this group? How do they get these guys off the field and get the ball into Russell Wilson's hands?
Well, DTR, what did he do? He had one error, one mistake last week, but he took the team down the field, 40-something yards for the game-winning field goal.
Yep.
It's a very conservative game plan. The ball's not going down the field a great deal. They're giving them very simple reads. I would say that, honestly, the key is, can you stop David Njoku right now? Like, he seems to be the go-to guy in crunch time. Jerome Ford is having a phenomenal season. I mean, look, Nick Chubb is the best running back in football, and they lose him early in the second game of the season, and they're still finding ways to win games, and they're playing with a rookie quarterback, and a backup quarterback for much of the year. So they're doing a great job in Cleveland. But I would say just harassing the hell out of Dorian Thompson-Robinson would be a good start. Like, however you do that, like, let him feel the heat. Let him see some free hitters coming at him. Let's see what kind of decisions he makes. They've got a very good offensive line. DeJuan Jones, I mean, they're rotating right tackles right now. The left tackle was picked up off a bus stop 3 weeks ago. He was on, and he's played really well. The interior three, when you look at Joel Petonio and Ethan Posick and Wyatt Teller, they might be the best interior 3 in this whole league. Like, they just play the game the right way, and they will cut you up and slice you up on cutoffs and traps and like powers, and they're awesome inside, and they're coached by Bill Callahan, who's as good as there is. So, in fact, I think I have to check on this, but I think Bill Callahan and Sean Payton coached together in Philadelphia. Somebody go look that up. But I think they were together for 2 years at Philadelphia under Ray Rhodes and John Gruden. So that might have happened.
And Baldy, you mentioned Kareem Jackson. The Broncos aren't going to have him. I kind of want to ask you a big picture because we've heard Tom Brady talk about this earlier this week. We've heard a lot of Broncos come out to support Kareem. And I don't want to ask you whether the suspension was right or wrong, but just what is your take on the current NFL and where it's trending? Is it something that concerns you like it concerns some of these other players?
Well, I'm all for player safety. I thought when I saw the play by Kareem Jackson, I thought that's how you have to play the game. It changed the game. You got a turnover right there. You got points out of the turnover. Those are the plays that, guys just made. Like what Brady was saying about Rodney Harrison and some of the guys he mentioned. Like, I can't even show Troy Polamalu highlights. Like they're too violent. I can't even put Troy out there on video. Like it would. The game has come that far. I feel like, like Kareem's getting labeled like the way Rodney Harrison got labeled. Like he's a problem child. He's too violent. He has to. I mean, I understand this is suspension to a degree. Like you got to change the way you play the game, but there's something about playing the game from that safety position that's part of the position. You have to make intimidating hits. You got the center of the field, the middle of the field is the most important real estate in the game of football. You have to defend that turf. I agree with Tom to a great degree, but I work for the NFL, so
that's totally fair. I'll give you something that you can 100% speak on as an offensive lineman mastermind. How do the Broncos slow down Myles Garrett, who is the leader for the Defensive Player of the Year right now?
Well, you have to account for him every play. He's not out there every play, but he plays over the left tackle. He plays over the right tackle. He'll line up over the center. No matter where he is, you have to account for him. You can't just leave him one-on-one. I don't care. Garrett Bowles, pick guy. Like, you can't leave him against McGlinchey one-on-one. You always have to have a guy, a slide, a chip. You've got, and if you're going to take a deep drop, screens, let him rush. Quick passes, if it's going to come out like less than 2 seconds, okay. But if you're holding the ball and you're counting to 3, you better have a plan for Myles Garrett because he'll ruin your play.
Yeah, well, we love it. And Baldy, we got to ask you before you get out, best Thanksgiving dish tomorrow?
Oh, well, I mean, look, it's my favorite. It's my favorite holiday of the year. It's my favorite meal of the year.
Yes.
Like all the turkey you want with all the gravy and all the stuffing and all the cranberry sauce. And I might start it all off with 2 pieces of blueberry pie or pumpkin pie, whatever's on the table, just because I can. And if I gain 8, that's a good day.
Baldy, what do you have to say?
If I had a penny scale before I started and after I finished, like I'm hoping there's 8 pounds that are gained.
I love it.
Baldy, one Zach Stevens here hates Thanksgiving. What do you have to say to him?
Well, then he just hates life. Thanksgiving is the greatest holiday ever invented. Like, it's just food, family, and football.
Yep.
And there's nothing better that beats that combination.
Yeah, and I agree with the last two, or the family and football one. That can't be beat. But I'll take your advice. I'll start off with some pie tomorrow and see if that turns the meal around.
And just pour a big old goblet of red wine and drink it down with it.
Baldy and I are gonna have similar Thursdays. I like that.
We're gonna need the weigh-in update next week, Baldy. Enjoy Thanksgiving. We're thankful for you.
We'll tip the scales. I'll let you know.
Right on. And before we let you go, just got to give a shout out. You guys have been killing it on the All NFL show. You had Andy Reid on. You had Troy Buck on. You've had Joe Buck on. You guys have had so many awesome guests on. So everyone that's watching this, you guys are gonna love it.
We have a cool group coming on Friday. We've got Hassan Reddick from the Eagles.
Yep.
And we have Deion Dawkins, the left tackle from Buffalo. They play Sunday in Philly, but they both played together at Temple on that field in Philly. And so we're going to have both those guys on, kind of like preempting that game on Sunday. So it's going to be cool. Man,
I mean, just that's a perfect Thanksgiving show right there. You're kind of bringing family back together. I love it, Baldy. Thanks so much. We love your insight.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving,
you too,
Baldy.
man. Love Baldy's insight.